Okay, so something pretty wild is happening in the world of AI. A research lab over in Hangzhou, China just dropped a brand new state-of-the-art AI model. We're talking competitive with the best of the best. And you know what they did? They just gave it away. For free. I mean the whole thing. Source code, weights, all of it for $0. Meanwhile, back in San Francisco, a top lab is charging $20 a month plus fees for their model, which is totally locked down. So what we have here are two models, two completely different philosophies, and honestly, a massive strategic conflict that's going to define the entire future of AI. All right, let's get into it.
So on one side, you've got this Hangzhou model, right? The price is literally zero. Access is wide open, it's open source, and the core idea, the whole philosophy, is about ubiquity. Just get it into everyone's hands. But then on the other side, you have the San Francisco model. It's expensive, access is tightly restricted through a proprietary API, and the philosophy here? It's all about control. Look, this isn't just a simple difference in how you run a business. This is a strategic war being fought with lines of code, and it brings up one huge central question.
I mean, really, why would anyone build something this powerful, something that costs a fortune to create, and then just hand it over for nothing? It seems to fly in the face of all business logic, right? But as we're about to see, there's a very cold, very clear logic behind it. It's just probably not the one Silicon Valley is used to.
Yes, so this isn't just a friendly tech race to see who can build the smartest AI first. Nope. This is a clash of two fundamentally different strategies, and each one is designed to achieve total global dominance in this new AI era. So let's break them down.
First up, you've got the American strategy. We can call it proprietary dominance. And this is the classic playbook, the one we all recognize. You build the absolute best product you can, think GPT-4, think Claude, you lock it down behind an API, and you charge premium prices for anyone who wants to use it. The whole goal is to make money directly from the tech and stay on top through sheer technical superiority.
And then you have China's strategy, open source saturation. And this is a completely different ballgame. The goal here isn't to sell the model, it's to give it away. The idea is to win not by having the single greatest model, but by becoming the foundational layer that everyone else builds on top of. You get to dominance not through control, but through sheer, overwhelming ubiquity, making the rest of the world completely dependent on your infrastructure. So how does this playbook actually work? You know, in the real world, how do you actually turn free into a winning strategy? Let's walk through the steps. Well, it all starts with massive state support. See, China doesn't really view AI as just another commercial product. They see it as critical infrastructure, kind of like highways or 5G networks. And that lets them fund and release this flood of high-quality, totally free models. You've probably heard of some, like QN or DeepSeek. This immediately captures the attention of developers all over the world, because who wouldn't gravitate toward powerful tools that don't cost a dime? And over time, that creates this powerful lock-in effect. You become the essential foundation that everyone else just builds on. And this slide just lays out the core economic difference perfectly. With the US model, you've got venture capital funding, and VCs demand quarterly returns. So the tactic is obvious. You have to monetize the model directly. But now look at the Chinese model. It's state-backed. The goal isn't making a quick profit this quarter, it's about long-term, strategic dominance. So the tactic isn't to sell the AI itself, but to own the entire ecosystem that grows around it.
You know, this quote just nails it. One approach is creating a high-end luxury product for the parts of the world that can afford it. The other is creating the basic, essential commodity infrastructure for, well, for everyone else. And it's probably worth remembering that everyone else is something like 90% of the planet. Okay, so that's the strategy. But is it actually working? Let's take a look at the data, because the numbers here paint a really clear and, for some folks, a pretty uncomfortable picture.
Check this out. Just last year, in 2023, American models were powering about 86% of commercial AI apps around the globe. I mean, a totally dominant position. Today, that number has dropped to 70%. That is a 16-point drop in market share in an incredibly short amount of time. And this isn't happening because the Chinese models suddenly got better overnight. It's because they became a free and good enough alternative.
And this slide shows that ecosystem capture happening in real time. If you look at new AI projects on GitHub, which is basically the center of the universe for developers, you see this dramatic shift. Chinese models now account for 21% of all new projects. That's up from basically nothing. This is the strategy playing out right in front of us, winning the hearts and minds of the developers who are literally building the next generation of AI tools.
So here's the crucial point. History has shown us over and over again that the best technology doesn't always win. Remember VHS versus Betamax? Windows beat Mac OS in market share for decades.
Why? Because things like accessibility, cost, and having a big ecosystem often matter way more than technical perfection. For most businesses out there, a model that's 95% as good for 0% of the cost is, well, it's a completely unbeatable offer. So this whole competition, it's not just about market share or which startup gets the next big funding round. It has these massive, long-term geopolitical consequences. We are seeing the early signs of the world actually splitting into two distinct technological spheres.
Yeah, this whole strategic clash leads to three major potential outcomes. We're looking at a fragmentation of the entire global AI ecosystem, a fierce battle for who gets to set the tech standards for the future, and, this might sound counterintuitive, a potential slowdown in cutting-edge innovation.
What's happening is we are moving towards a world with a Western AI sphere, built on those proprietary American models, and then another sphere covering much of the global South, built entirely on Chinese open-source infrastructure. And look, these two spheres won't just be using different code. They'll have different values, different biases baked right into the models, and completely different rules about things like censorship and data. This could fundamentally change how information flows around the planet. An American AI researcher said this recently, and wow, it's a chilling thought. The risk here isn't just that China's tech somehow surpasses America's. The bigger risk is that the whole US strategy of selling premium AI just becomes economically impossible, and American companies simply stop investing the billions and billions of dollars it takes to push the boundaries of research. And that brings us to the ultimate, still unresolved question at the very heart of this conflict. This isn't really about who has the smartest engineers right now. It's about who has the most sustainable strategy for the long haul.
In the end, it all comes back to this one number: 0. This is the disruptive economic force that the entire proprietary model has to somehow compete against. And it's a force that fundamentally changes the economics of an entire industry.
And this right here, this is the nightmare scenario. It's not that China out-innovates the US. It's that they win by attrition. They make the price of good enough AI so low that it just becomes economically irrational for American companies to pour billions into research for a premium product that might not even have a profitable market anymore. And if that happens, the research slows, the frontier stalls, and they win by default. So we end right back where we started, with this simple but incredibly profound question. The entire future of AI leadership, of global standards, and even the pace of innovation itself might depend on the answer. And right now, in boardrooms all across Silicon Valley, people are desperately trying to figure it out. And the honest truth, nobody has a clear answer yet.